Welcome to the Joe Vin Sports Show. Today we got the PGA Championship at Harding Park, San Francisco. We got on our golf analyst once again, Jimmy McIntosh. Jim,
Golf
what do you
Pro.
think? Golf Pro, baby. What do you think about the tournament this week, man? It's local. It's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, I mean, super cool. This is a great course. I mean, I've played it quite a few times. It's a Muni course. I mean, anybody can play it. They've done quite a bit of renovations to it over the past few years. They changed out the greens back in 2015, I think. And I mean, since COVID has happened, I mean, this thing is probably going to be playing pristine. The biggest concern that the PGA had was that this is a public golf course, right? And how was it going to play? How many people were going to get to play it? And well, basically they just shut it like 2 months ago, right? And nobody's been playing it. So, I mean, I think it's going to be pretty cool to see.
How do they land on this course? Like for, someone like myself that, doesn't, I guess, follow all like the details and everything. Like how did they come up with this course? I'm sure like everyone, like a million courses been on it, right? But
So the PGA of America, which makes up all of your golf pros, right? So like, when you go to a golf shop and you say like, PGA Tour Pro at like, Oakhurst Country Club has a pro, right? He's part of the PGA of America, and all of those pros can get qualified to go play in this, right? So there's like a ruling board that decides where they should have this, right? So they typically try and have it as much as they can at public golf courses like Bethpage Black in New York, where they had it last year. Harding Park, other places like that, but they try and make it, obviously they try and move it around. It's the one major, kind of like the British Open, that moves around a little bit.
Gotcha.
But I mean, obviously us being, the United States being much bigger than the UK, I mean, it moves around quite a bit, right? So they try and do it to grow the game as much as possible. They try to get new, exciting venues. I mean, Harding Park hasn't hosted a tournament since 2015 when they hosted the WGC Match Play, which is now held at the Austin Country Club. And then before that, it was the President's Club back in 2005, I believe.
Okay.
And I actually went to that. And
yeah, I remember that tournament.
Yeah, so I mean, it's changed a lot, right? So it's kind of cool that they're doing it at a course that not a lot of people like play a lot, right?
Yeah.
It's not like the Masters where it's like, all right, well, this guy knows this place like that back of his hand.
Right.
They can kind of set it up to how they want to, and they really work with courses that will give them the latitude to do that, right? Because some courses are like, well, no, we don't want you to screw with our golf course, right?
Right. Yeah, they're more stingy on it.
Yeah, they try to make it, as hard as they can. So I think you'll definitely see a different golf course than like I have played there a bunch of times, right? But I've never played it under these conditions.
For sure. Yeah. Well, just in a little bit of an overview for everyone, like it sounds like it's a 156 player field, correct? Or a pool. Yeah, like you said, TPC's never held a major before, so it should be pretty cool. It's too bad fans obviously can't be there because it would have been, probably a pretty cool experience for, Bay Area people. The weather in San Francisco is something I was going to ask you about. For those of you that aren't in San Francisco, I imagine that it's going to be, hot and heavy, fog and wind in the morning, overcast to probably about noontime. But it's supposed to get up to like 65, 70, partly cloudy, sunny, and so nice in the afternoons. But, if you've watched a Giants game or, an A's game in the last week, like you see around game time and, obviously early in the mornings, like it's super overcast and cold. Do you think that's going to play into, I guess, factors with players or make a difference at all?
So I definitely think that, if you look at the past like 5 or 6 tournaments, they've all been in like Florida, Tennessee, Minnesota. It's all been hot, humid. So, we're not talking about like playing golf here, in the Northwest in October, right? But I mean, it's going to be in the high 40s in the morning. That heavy, wet fog is going to hang around. And then looking at the wind, as the fog starts to burn off, around 11, 12, the wind every day is going to pick up, right? So it's a little bit calmer conditions in the morning, but going to be more moist, where you'll get a little drier conditions in the afternoon, but you have to deal with the wind.
For sure.
Right. So, I mean, looking at, Thursday and Friday, I don't know if it necessarily favors any one particular draw. I think the guys that are teeing off more towards the middle of the day that will have kind of similar conditions both days will probably benefit from that a little bit, but not something where it's like, oh, well, the guys teeing off in the morning are really going to have the advantage on Thursday.
And I guess it's not going to be as dramatic. Like I hear, a lot of people talk about people that were born, like if you were born in Ireland or Scotland, you're used to playing in like bad weather or by the coast or something. Like those guys obviously crush it at those courses, but it's probably not going to be that dramatic. My guess would be, I mean, all these guys have played Pebble, right? It's probably a very similar atmosphere, my guess would be.
Yeah, I mean, the one difference is that the rough is super deep. And in the morning when it's wet, I mean, if you go into the rough, like it's not, you're likely not going to have a shot out of there unless you're John Rahm or Brooks Koepka or Bryson. Super strong guys. Most people are just going to have to punch out, right? They've cut down the fairways to 60% of what they normally are. So they've taken away 40% of the fairways on the total course. It's not an overly long course by yardage, but they've added a bunch of tee boxes to create some really weird angles. There's 6 dogleg lefts and 6 dogleg rights. So, it's going to be a good test. Like, you have to be able to shape shots. You have to be able to drive the ball far and straight. So we were kind of talking about Bryson a little bit earlier, right? Before we hopped on the recording, he hits it really far now. He hasn't been super accurate, and he's been the kind of the bomb and gouge is the term, right?
Yeah.
The problem is that some of this rough, you're just not going to be able to gouge it out of. Right. So whereas somewhere like Augusta might fit Bryson's new style really well because there's no rough, right? There's trees and there's pine straw and stuff like that, but he can hit it, 10 miles and then go find it somewhere and play some little punch shot or get kind of creative.
And still be on the green in 2 or whatever.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for me where he's added this extra power where he can now club down and try and hit some more fairways and go about his game like that because he's a solid putter, right? But his around the green game isn't great. So if his mid irons and long irons are not on, he's going to have some problems around the greens.
Yeah. So that brings us to what are some of the top players that you like this week?
So like I said, you got to be able to hit it long and you got to be able to hit it straight. So off the tee and then approach into the green. So that brings me to guys. Brooks Koepka. I mean, his irons have been on fire. He's won the last 2 PGA championships. Him and Justin Thomas are, near the top of the favorites and rightfully so. They're the 2 favorites. So they have the game. I also like John Rahm.
You think Brooks can three-peat it? I mean, I feel like he just gets so hot. Like last week he was on fire. Like he just warms up and heats up when it's time for
when it's majors.
For major time.
It's crazy. So the ball striking is always there with Brooks. It's his putter, right? So Thursday last week on the first 9 holes, or it was Thursday or Friday, whatever day he shot that 62.
It was Thursday.
Yeah, so he made like 76 feet of putts on the first 9 holes. Like that is completely insane. Right. So he was just draining stuff from everywhere. So if he does heat up with a putter, he's going to be tough to beat, man. I think John Rahm is also a guy that not a lot of people are talking about. We'll get into DK a little bit later, but he's kind of going overlooked and he plays really well at coastal courses. He's won at Torrey Pines down south in San Diego a few times. Much of the same type of thing, right? Tighter fairways. Need to hit it long and straight. And I mean, as far as favorites go, I think Rahm will be my pick from the top end of the board to contend and probably win. And then I'd probably have to say Brooks second.
Yeah, I think I checked right before. I'm going to pull it up right now. But from what I was gathering, as far as odds-wise, if I remember correctly, JT and Brooks are both at 10-1 currently, and Rahm was at 14. So he's not too far behind. I mean, you get a little bit more value. Yeah, Rahm's at 14 right now.
Yep.
Him and Rory.
Yep.
So, okay.
I like it. I was going to say Brooks too. I mean, how can you go against the guy in the majors the last few years?
I mean, it's tough, right? If we're going down the odds, getting up into the area that I like to bet, the like 20-1 all the way up to like the 50-1 area.
What about the 300-1 guys?
Well, we'll get there. I've got some bombs. I've got some bombs.
That's more my idea.
So here, but the thing is, like, if you typically go back and look at the last like 8 PGA championships, there's not a lot of guys that come from that deep to win. Like, you have to be a class player to win this tournament, right?
There's just not a lot of room for error.
No, there's not. And like, some guys can get hot and do it, but I mean, I still don't understand why Tiger's 33-1.
So that was going to be. I mean, that's obviously elephant in the room, right? Like,
I think Tiger's my big pick this week.
He's right now sitting at 33-1.
So
and he has been playing a lot of tournaments, but I mean, all of his practice rounds are saying he's killing it. I mean, I heard he made a 600-yard par 5 and 2 the other day in a practice round out there. So I like Tiger this week, man.
So look, Tiger dominated here when they played the President's Cup here. He absolutely dominated. I think he went like 5-1-1 in his 6 matches, right? He played pretty well last time that they had the WGC match play here, right? I don't care that he hasn't been playing a lot, like playing tournaments, right? Like he's at the stage in his career where he doesn't need to do that, right? The only concern, and he's said it before, is the temperature with his back.
So that's what I mean. Obviously we didn't bring it up at the beginning, but when it comes to weather, like, he's obviously the biggest name still, right? And with his back issues and everything else, like, that's number one. I mean, when is he teeing off Thursday? Do you know?
So I think he's teeing off around 9:30.
So he's going to have an early slot.
Pacific. So that's not super early. I mean, there's guys going off at like,
6:30.
There's guys going off pretty early. So here, let me pull it up real quick.
Tiger's the best shape shotter in the game, right? I mean, the guy can shape shots anytime he wants, and if that's what you're looking for on this course, I mean, Tiger's got to be your guy.
Well, and this is coming just from, again, a completely outside view. Obviously, like, I'm by no means like know as much golf as you guys, but like, I look at 33-1, and it's like, to me, that's insane value, right? Like, you look at the other guys in the threes, and he's far and away a way better player than those guys when he's on, he has a legitimate shot to win at 33-1.
I mean, Daniel Berger and Webb Simpson are at 30-1. You're telling me those two guys have better odds? Daniel Berger, he's playing well, right? This course is a horrible, horrible course setup for Webb Simpson. Like,
I couldn't tell you what Daniel Berger looks like for $1 million right now.
Dude, Berger is very consistent.
Very consistent.
Right? Like, he's not going to come out winning a PGA Championship.
No. But again, Tiger at 33-1, like, and his back is healthy.
Yeah.
Just if he can get it loosened up enough to play well, right?
Yeah, I think he'll be fine, man. The back hasn't given him an issue in a while,
No, but like, if you look at the Memorial, right? He played really good that one round because he played in the afternoon. He went out the next day on Friday morning, because he had the late afternoon, early morning split. He just said it. He's like, he says it all the time. He uses the word, I couldn't get my back activated. So it's not like there's anything wrong with it, right? Yeah. But he just can't get it to the point where he can hit the shots that he needs to. But on a course like this, where I think the winning number is probably going to be like 9 or 10 under, I mean, he doesn't – and he plays with the best strategy out of anybody out there still. He knows, where to hit shots. He knows exactly the way he wants to play it. And he didn't play last weekend, right? He's been here since last Sunday. He went out and played 18 holes on Sunday while everyone was finishing the WGC. So he hasn't had to travel.
I like the fact though that he's played here, he's won here. Like, how many of these younger players, especially, have ever played here?
I mean, he's a Stanford guy, right? I mean, the guy
That's what
grew
I'm
up his
saying.
amateur career golfing on the coast, you know.
Kind of coming. He always kicks ass in the Bay Area, right? Like every time he's here, like Pebble, he's dominated for years. Like, I don't know, there's something about it. One guy we kind of jumped over, not to like jump off Tiger, but do you have any interest in DJ at 20-1?
Yeah, I mean, he's got the game to do it, and DJ has shown that he doesn't need to be on to win, right? He can just kind of drop in and, yeah, I guess I feel like I'll try this week or whatever he does. I mean, it's just at that 20-1 number.
When his putter's on, he'll go for it, but when it's off, man, he doesn't give a shit.
So that 20-1 number has dropped quite a bit. He opened up at 28. I would have liked that number better if I was going to bet him. I did not bet him this week. But
I guess I'm just looking at it.
I mean, I'm going to be playing a lot of him on DK based on how he's priced. I mean, I think a lot of other people are too.
Right.
But
I guess I was just looking at it from a standpoint of, like you were saying, in order to win a major, typically you need to be a world-class player. And any given day, he's the best player in golf. Like he can be. Like if he's on, he could throttle anyone.
100%.
So okay.
You're talking about local guys, and you know, a local guy who I know has played this course a lot. Who's a young guy. I don't know. Is Colin Morikawa your boy?
Yeah, Cal guy,
right? So his odds have dropped a lot. I bet him and Victor Hovland back in February to win this. I have a ticket. I have a Victor Hovland ticket at 140-1.
Oh my God.
Hovland's at 45-1 right now, and I have a Morikawa ticket at 155-1, and he's at 35-1 right now.
My God.
Oh, damn.
So
awesome. Good on you, mate.
Yeah, I mean, look, you take some shots early in the year. They're not big bets because, you know, you're not really sure how they're going to be playing.
Right.
But, you know, Hovland and Morikawa are both ball strikers. Morikawa maybe hits his irons, maybe the best iron player on tour other than Rory McIlroy. Like, he is so good. His off the tee and him and Hovland's around the green game, their short game, like chipping and stuff like that, is just not good. But Morikawa, I mean, he went to Cal. They played tons of collegiate events at Harding Park, right? Hovland, again, went to Oregon or Oklahoma State. They play a ton of West Coast events at Harding
You're
Park.
like Oklahoma State, right down the street. He's super comfortable with this.
Skipping a jump.
But they come out here all the time. So, like case in point, there's a private invitational that they do every year that the Big Ten does. Or I'm sorry, what are they in the Big 12? Big 12.
Big 12.
That the Big 12 does that rich parents pay for, that they come out and do their own little private tournament at Harding Park, Paso Tiempo, and they play all the Pebble courses over a week. And it's like a tune-up for the collegiate season. And Hovland has done that every single year when he was in college. So they play a lot of tournaments out here, right? So I think those are two young guys in the mid-range where if you still want to bet them, you know, 35-1, 45-1, I don't hate it. And then especially on DraftKings, it seems like, you know, Victor Hovland has cooled off the last few weeks and nobody wants to play him.
I have him written down here. Yeah. So.
And then the other guy that I have bet from this range that he's just the ultimate gamer. Nobody likes him, but Patrick Reed.
I love Patrick Reed. Captain America, man.
plays really well in tough courses. He is not a guy that is going to go out and be able to contend at a course where the winning score is 20 under, 22 under. He just doesn't make enough birdies for that. Patrick Reed's game is mitigating risk and limiting his damage, right? And that's why he's such a good match play player, because he doesn't blow up, right? And when he does have a bad hole, he's able to calm himself down and play through it really, right? So, you know,
do you think he's going to be intimidated at all if he's going into Sunday with the chance that Tiger walks by his wife again and actually takes her this time? That's no, dude. Tiger's wearing red on Sunday,
dude. Patrick Reed doesn't give a fuck. That's why everyone hates him.
Hide your girl.
That guy does not care.
So yeah, and again,
dude, Patrick Reed wore Tiger red on a Sunday, like when Tiger was also top 10. Like that guy doesn't give a fuck.
It's like showing up to a wedding wearing white.
Exactly.
Pretty much, he just doesn't care, right? Just fuck it, why not?
All right, I might go with Reed. I kind of like that.
So yeah, so there's some other guys in the mid range here, but I want to get up to a couple of bombs.
Yeah, now we're talking.
That
yes.
One guy you want to talk about hasn't played a whole lot. Henrik Stenson has everything you need for this course.
The boss man.
Just hits it straight. Ultimate ball striker. 125-1. Sign me up, right? I have a bet in on him. And then the other guy that I just don't get, who his odds have actually improved or gotten longer, is Kevin Kisner. So Kevin Kisner does not hit the ball far, right? But he hits it straight and he can putt. And those are two very, very important things that are going to come to light on this course. Normally, he would probably say, like, if you heard him on the Barstool podcast, like, he's got no shot here. But I think he's got a really good shot. He's a grinder. Again, he's not a guy that's going to go out and win you a tournament at 20 under. But at 8, 9, 10 under, he just doesn't make those mistakes that he puts up 9s or 10s or 8s or 7s. Like, he just doesn't do that. And at 135-1, like, I'm looking at him on DK Sportsbook. I mean, he's right. He's got worse odds than Kevin Streelman. Like, I know you guys probably don't even know who that is.
Unfortunately, he lost me money on DraftKings.
I know who he is. He's like Mr. Average, isn't he?
I mean, he wears the fucking sunglasses on the back of his head, and he wears fucking sunglasses all the time. Like, he's like 5 foot.
He'll hit top 25s in like the Barracuda Championship, and all the good players are playing at WGC.
Yeah,
that's who Kevin Streelman is.
Get the hell out of here, man. One other guy, two other guys, 150-1, Joaquin Niemann. Horrible putter. Cannot putt worth a shit. But is a hell of a ball striker.
Good start. I like where we're going with this. Keep going.
Look,
bet.
Putting's a really high variance thing. So on some of these weeks with some of these longer odds guys, you're not going to get everything, right? That's why I think it's weird that Kevin Kisner's down here in the 135, 125 range, because he doesn't have a lot of holes in his game. Well, I mean, Joaquin Niemann can't putt, but he can strike the hell out of the ball. And that 150-1, it's worth $10, right?
Right.
Another guy is Matt Wallace. He's an Englishman, right? Hits the ball really far, used to playing in really bad conditions. And again, this is a guy that can win you a tournament in the 8 to 9 to 10 to 11 under range. He's never a guy that's going to be able to contend when it gets into the teens and stuff like that. Now, the concern here, right, is if a guy like Brooks or if a guy like Bryson or if a guy like JT
and fuck Bryson
just gets hot, they could win this tournament by 6 or 7 strokes at like 15 or 16 under.
Right.
So that's the concern, right? And I mean, I don't know. So 150-1 is the highest that I topped out at this week. I think anything past that, if you like some guys higher than that, you probably should just be playing some top 10s or top 20s or something like that. I mean, the guys just in the 300 to 200 range, they have no shot to win this. They just don't.
So are you saying that my $2 bet that I put on Judd Gibb for 400,000 or plus 400, $2 to win $8,000 I'm not getting that back?
I think that's a great bet.
Yeah, that's not a good bet. I mean, I would have rather
$2 to a homeless person.
I would have rather bet, Siwoo Kim at 350-1.
Hey, don't rag on Siwoo. Siwoo's been hot lately, man. Siwoo for a top 25 this week.
Okay, I mean, sure. I mean, I guess you could do that, but here, let me see what this.
Siwoo's making his comeback, dude.
Hey,
after 2 years.
Why isn't Abernath playing?
Who?
Oh, they got the big cigar?
No, the guy who smokes the cigs.
Yeah.
Oh, Appy Barnrat.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Dude, he hasn't left Thailand. Dude, he's just
hanging out.
He is just holed up in some fucking Thai apartment, sitting in his Lamborghinis, just rifling cigs. I mean,
sounds like the life.
He's so the old barn rat's a little on the heavier side. So I mean, if he hasn't been doing much, I don't know what he's gonna look like when he resurfaces again.
Better the better.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I would have thought that he would have came and played the WGC last week, but I mean,
he's just no-shown.
Yeah, he's just straight up not playing. Well, Cespedes showed up at least.
He's just,
this guy hasn't even showed up.
So he potentially was just like, you know what? I've made enough money that like I'm good in Thailand for like.
No, but that's a weird thing because he talks about the only reason he plays golf is to get more money to buy shit. He say he loves spending money. He's got fucking like 20 Rolexes. He's got like 4 or 5 Lamborghinis. Like he's got all kinds of shit. So like,
I love this.
I don't know, dude. I love him too, and I'm really upset that he's not playing. But I guess like COVID, he just decided, like, sorry, like I'm just staying in Thailand, and that's it, right? I mean, it's kind of shitty, right? So,
what are you gonna do?
Yeah, real quick, DK. I'm just gonna share. So, I don't know if you guys are, but I'm a part of FantasyNational.com. I know Pat Mayo, that's his big thing, right? But really, what it is, it's just custom stat modeling, and it gives you an idea of where, if you want to dial in stats and you want to try and pick golfers based on statistics, you don't have to go build a whole model yourself in a spreadsheet. Essentially, you can just, customize their models that they have already and weight it how you want to. The cool part about it is that when people are generating lineups within Fantasy National, because there's a lineup generator, you get calculated ownership, right? So they give you how many people star a golfer. So when you star a golfer, that's where you generate your lineups from. That's where it'll pull from, or like favorite it. And then so they give you like an actual lineup generation number and then a calculated ownership on like how many people are going to like play that person, right?
Gotcha. So we'll kind of give you just a sense of like, if everybody pick, starting with Koepka to see what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean it's not perfect.
Right.
But it gives you a pretty good idea, and a lot of people using Fantasy National are either playing probably a little bit higher dollar tournaments. They're definitely playing like the PME Open, right?
Sure.
And they're generating a lot of lineups. So mostly mass multi-entering and stuff like that. So the top few calculated ownership, Colin Morikawa is coming in at 18% as the highest owned player. Next, we got Xander at 17.4%. Berger at 15.3%.
I will be full fade Berger. I'm just telling you right now.
He's got no shot. Just no shot to win. And now he's probably going to win. Then we got Justin Thomas at 14.8%. I mean, that's high for a guy, the most expensive golfer. Yeah. So,
I personally think if I'm going up top, I'm going Koepka. That's just my lean. I mean, like you said, Rahmer. You can get John Rahm for almost $1,000 less than JT.
Yeah, so Rahm's coming in at 13%, so that's probably in the 13 to 14% range. Brooks is coming in at around 12 to 13%. So I'm not a guy personally that pays a whole lot of attention to ownership percentages, just because I don't mass multi-enter. I play single entry, 3 max, stuff like that. So really, like, if you really have a guy and you think that guy's going to win, play him regardless of how chalky or, this guy's going to be mega chalk. And like, well, you still have 6 golfers to fill out your lineup, right?
Yeah, you can get weird with the other spots. So if it's good chalk, like, just
And like, if you want to differentiate yourself real easily, the easiest way to do it is to leave like $300 or $400 on the table once you make your lineups, right? But some of my other guys I like, Tiger. Now I don't know. I don't know if I believe this, but they say Tiger's only going to come in around 7 to 8%.
Dude, no way.
I can see it, man. People get really shooken up when players don't play for a few weeks.
But I think I find that hard to believe, the fact that this is like, when people hear major time, it's Tiger. Like, people, I think, are hoping for and expecting to see Tiger and Brooks on Sunday paired off. Yeah. Like fighting for the lead, right? That's what people want. Like,
I think a lot of people think about ownership, and they think Tiger, just because of the name, is going to get high ownership, and people will go away from him. I think that happens a lot with Tiger.
Happen.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm with you on the price. Like,
it goes the other way too. Like Rory McIlroy, he's not getting any buzz this week, and everyone is going to say, "Oh, I think Rory's going to be sneaky." Like, no one's talking about him. And then Thursday morning, he's going to be 22% owned, and be like, "Well, everyone thought Rory was the sneaky play, but he's like maybe one of the best players in the world. So I don't think that's ever going to be a sneaky play."
If you were playing, let's say, 5 lineups, like if we're just going through the tiers, like Tiger and DJ, who would you play out of those out of 5 lineups?
I played Tiger in 3, DJ in 2.
Okay. What about Morikawa, Hovland?
4 Morikawa, 1 Hovland.
Wow, so you really like Morikawa then this week?
Yeah, he's just got the more complete game, and it's just the ball striking, right?
Reederson at 8K even.
Reeder who?
No, just Reed.
Oh yeah, give me all the Reed. I mean, he's at coming in projected at about 8 to 10% ownership.
Yeah, any love for your guy Phil?
Phil, I mean, I played a lot of Phil last week. It worked out
did well
for me,
last week,
right? Like, his driving accuracy is just so poor. It's just not gonna. I know he's a wizard with the short game, but just no. I'll pass on Phil. He makes too many big numbers.
What about Bubba down there? Since he is a driver. Like, he's a absolute bomb.
I like
Bubba. With Bubba on dog legs is dangerous, man.
I like Bubba, right? He's a ball striker.
He smashes.
The putter gets hot, right? He's won major championships before. Again, at the DraftKings pricing, he's $7,400. Right. He's priced right next to Billy Horschel.
Right.
Like, you gonna play Bubba Watson or Billy Horschel? Like,
yeah.
That's the one thing I think a lot of people do, is they overthink themselves and try and get really, like, especially when we're in a major, you just have to look like, am I going to play Byung-Hung An, who shot 7 over in the final round because he legitimately cannot putt last week?
Yeah.
Or am I going to play Kevin Kisner for $200 cheaper? I mean, it's just like, and Kisner coming in at 3% owned.
Hey, why is Mark Hubbard all the way down to 6,200? Can you explain that?
Say his name again.
Mark Hubbard.
Yeah, exactly. It's Mark Hubbard.
Yeah, but he's got 3 top 10s this year.
Okay, great. I mean,
what courses were they?
Exactly. I mean,
well, I'm just wondering. Like, I'm looking at it from like face value, and I'm seeing like some of these guys I feel are just really cheap, that are like not terrible golfers.
Well, like Jim was saying, this is just an upper echelon course when you come to the majors, and like you said, these guys can usually get away with it on easier courses, which they're not going to get away with it in this situation this weekend.
I mean, they have been able to dial this course in to exactly how they want it to play. Yeah. They have the rough as long as they want it. They've, this tournament was supposed to be held in May. Okay. So we're 3 months later. So that's an extra 3 months to grow out the rough. And so they just said, screw it. Like, we're just going to grow it out. They've added tee boxes. Hole 8, which normally plays at like 193-yard par 3, it's playing at 251.
Yeah, Jesus.
Par
250
3.
par 3.
Wow. Guys like Webb Simpson are going to have to hit their driver. I mean, I'm serious, dude. I mean, I think your boy Mark Hubbard probably has to hit his driver to get it.
Hey, he's not my boy.
No, he's your boy now. Sorry.
If you want
I was going to ask my boy next, Taylor Gooch.
I mean, he can hit the ball long. He's a ball striker. Right next to him at 6,400 is Sung Kang. If we were betting on low Asian, that's probably who my bet would be on.
That's what I'm getting at, though. There's some guys that are down here, like, I feel like bottom of the barrel, where it's like I see them every Saturday and Sunday, like, playing well on like Saturday, Sunday. And so it's like, okay, I get it, the course, and I get it, like, we're looking for like elite, like, players, but you're going to need to fit one or two of these guys in if you want to go with like a Brooks Rom, or something like that, or Brooks Rom Tiger and start there. Like, you're going to have to get a few of these guys down there in the 6s and 7s.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at the ownership percentage too, you can see that a lot of people are going to do that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Harris English is coming in at 11% at 7,200. Ryan Palmer 8 to 9% at 6,900. Brendan Steele, there's guys popping up down here that, like, Russell Henley at 6,600 is going to be 9% owned. No thanks. I'll go to somebody else, right? I'll play Siwoo Kim at 1% owned for 6,700, right?
You think maybe a little bit more of a balanced lineup would be different, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think balance is probably going to be your best way to go this week. You're going to have to get 6 of 6 through the cut if you really want to try and win a GPP. And it's just going to be so hard to get some of these lower 6,000, mid 6,000 players through the cut. I mean, it's a coin flip. They could certainly get there, but I don't know. I'm just not confident. I'm going to be more comfortable. Like I said, I play single entry. I play 3 max. So that's more conducive to a balance build than anything else. And I think that at the end of the day, that's kind of probably the best way that you want to go. I'm going to put a couple of lineups into the Millie Maker and try and get weird and see if we can make something happen this week. But other than that, I mean, that's not my actual strategy. That's just, trying to do something weird to win $1 million with 2 lineups in 178,000 person tournament. So
easy money.
I like it. Cool. Anything else? You think anybody is a huge red flag stay away from just a betting standpoint, or someone that you think is overhyped where you would definitely play against that guy if you could?
Bryson.
I mean, Joe, you guys laugh, but if Bryson,
I'm telling you,
if he decides that he's going to just try and bomb and gouge this thing, he's going to miss a cut. He has to club down, and he has to hit 3 irons and 3 woods and get in the fairway. Like I've been watching all the reporters, and like Riggs from Barstool is there, and he's showing Kevin Kisner and other guys hit shots out of the rough, and it's just like
impossible.
They're advancing it, 30, 40 yards back into the fairway on a 480-yard par 4. So
it's not gonna work.
I mean, the first hole is almost drivable for Bryson. Is he going to go for it? Like, if he does, it's just not going to be. It's not going to be good for him.
Yeah, he's just ultimate boomer bust. If he's missing fairways, he's in a lot of trouble.
Some other guys that I'm just like Xing out this week: Ricky Fowler, no thanks. Matt Fitzpatrick, no thanks. Daniel Berger, no thanks. Those are probably my higher end guys, and then Webb at 9,700, no thanks. He's a wet noodle. He can't hit the ball far enough.
That might be the most insulting thing you can say about someone.
I mean, pull up a picture of Webb Simpson and tell me he doesn't just look like your ultimate, like, wet noodle. He wears, like, a size small shirt, and it hangs off of him like Brighton wearing one of my shirts. I mean, it's ridiculous.
All I got to say is if you ever call me a wet noodle, we're coming down. It's going down.
Fighting. Those are fighting words.
Well, Vinny, like I said, pull up a picture of Webb Simpson, and if you ever get to looking like that, just, like, don't be surprised if I call you a wet noodle.
I'm like the opposite of a wet noodle.
Yeah, so, I mean, you sweat a lot, but, other than that.
Like rigatoni. All right, and on that, I think we're all finished up. So, all right, Jim, thanks for the preview. If there's anything last minute, you can follow us on Twitter. Jim, what's your handle?
At JJ McIntosh.
Go.
What is it? DFS Joey Levine. At DFS Joey Levine.
And I am Vinnie Levine 29. So we'll get some more info out, and then we should have another pod dropping this week, kind of catch up a little bit more on some baseball and football news. So with that, we're out.
All right, guys.
Later guys.